Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're prying open the lid on AI to look at a framework that is just completely changing the game. It's called LangChain. And look, if you've ever wished you could make AI truly personally useful, well, this is how it's done.
I mean, at this point, who hasn't, right? You've probably used something like ChatGPT to help you write an email, or maybe you've thrown it a really tricky question just to see what it would say. It feels like pure magic.
But you've probably also hit a wall. That magic has some serious limits. You can't just drop in a 100-page PDF from your desktop and say, summarize this, or ask it for the top headlines from, this morning. So why not? What's stopping?
Well, it's because that incredibly powerful AI, for all its smarts, is totally isolated. It's basically living inside a sealed room, completely cut off from your personal files and the live breathing internet.
So yeah, let's really dig into this idea of the LLM in a box. A large language model, or LLM, is trained on a truly massive but totally static snapshot of the internet. It only knows about the world up to the point its training data was cut off.
And this really gets to the core of the problem. Picture this. You've got the smartest librarian in the world, but they're locked in a room with only books printed before, say, 2021. They can't read your company's latest report, they can't check the web for breaking news, and they definitely can't call up another library or app to ask for help. They are brilliant, but they're trapped. And this exact challenge is what LangChain was built to shatter.
So if that AI is locked in a box, you can think of LangChain as the master key. It's the toolkit, the framework that finally unlocks the door and lets the AI step out into the real world, connecting it to all sorts of external data and tools.
So the official definition is that it's an open source framework that lets developers connect LLMs to external data and computation. But what that really means is we can now build apps that let an AI, like GPT-4, use your data, your PDFs, your databases, even live web pages as its source of truth.
The best way to really get this is to just see it in action. So let's start with something fun and simple. We're going to build a pet name generator.
Okay, just look at the difference here. On the left, you have a normal, static prompt. You ask for dog names, you get dog names. End of story. But on the right, with a LangChain prompt template, you create a dynamic blueprint. See those curly braces? Those are variables. Now you can plug in cat and black, or hamster and brown, and the same prompt works for all of them. It suddenly becomes this incredibly powerful, reusable tool.
So how do you stick these pieces together? Well, you use the most fundamental building block in LangChain, a chain. It's literally in the name. A chain is the glue. It takes your dynamic prompt template, it takes your language model, and it links them together into a single working application.
All right, the pet name generator was a fun warm-up. But now, let's get to the real magic. What if you want to have a full-on conversation with your own data? Let's say you want to build an assistant that knows everything about a specific, really long YouTube video. Well, you immediately slam into a technical wall. The transcript for a 51-minute video is massive. Way too long for an LLM's context window, which is kind of like its short-term memory. You can't just paste it all in. So, what do? How do you solve that?
The solution, and this is so clever, is a process called indexing. Instead of trying to cram the entire book into the AI's brain at once, you first create a super smart index for that book.
And here's how that indexing works step by step. First, you load the data, the whole transcript. Then, you split that huge wall of text into small, bite-sized chunks. Now, this is the magic step. You create embeddings for each chunk, which is a fancy way of saying you turn the meaning of the text into a string of numbers. Finally, you store all those numbers in a special kind of database called a vector store. You've basically just created this incredibly efficient, searchable library of your document's core ideas.
So what's the payoff? Well, now when you ask a question like, hey, what did that video say about ransomware? The system doesn't have to read the entire transcript. Nope. It just does a quick search in that vector database to find the chunks that are mathematically most similar to your question. It grabs just those few relevant pieces and feeds only them to the AI. It's like finding the exact needle you need in a giant haystack, almost instantly.
Okay, so we've given our AI access to custom knowledge, which is amazing. But LangChain lets us take it another giant step forward. We can give our AI tools,
letting it go from just answering questions to actually taking actions. This is where we get into agents. An agent uses the LLM as its brain, its reasoning engine. It can look at a complicated request, think about it, break it down into smaller steps, and then decide which tool it needs to use for each step. The AI is no longer just a chatbot, it's an active problem solver, a worker.
Let's actually peek inside the agent's mind here. Say you ask it, what's the average age of a dog multiplied by 3? It doesn't just guess, it thinks, step by step. First, I need to find the average age of a dog. So its action is to search for that, and it chooses its Wikipedia tool. It gets an observation back. The average age is around 15 years. Great. Next thought, now I need to multiply that by 3. Action, calculate. It grabs its calculator tool, does the math, and gets the result, 45. Now it knows it's done. That entire chain of logic is orchestrated by the agent. It's incredible.
So when you put it all together, from simple prompts to indexing your own data to these complex agents that can reason and use tools, you realize LangChain fundamentally redefines what we can do with AI.
And this matters. It matters a lot. Because this is the technology that moves AI from being a cool toy to a genuinely practical tool. It's what enables you to have a personalized AI that actually understands your world, your data. It lets AI talk to other apps. And maybe most importantly, it puts the power to build these custom AI systems into the hands of so many more developers. It's a game changer.
This framework is the bridge connecting the insane potential of these language models with the real, messy, dynamic world we all live in. It really, truly takes the AI out of the box. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with it?